We are live. It's
You
official.
beat, you beat me to it. I was a bit slow. I was looking in the wrong place. I didn't think to look above my head where it should be. So this is the fun channel. We talk serious subjects, but we smile all the way through. So yeah, welcome to the Health Angle. My name is Paul Bursey, and my co-host name is
Warren Connolly.
Yay. Right.
Thank you.
So the Health Angle is part of healthierlife.tv, which covers basically Facebook Lives on Wednesday afternoon at 4 in London and Friday afternoon at 4 in London and 5 o'clock where Warren is. So, because he's in, where are you?
Hungary.
Hungary.
Central Europe.
So are you near Budapest?
I am actually very close to Budapest, but not in Budapest. Yeah.
I really want to go there because it looks really good.
It's spectacular here, man. It's just.
I'll rephrase that. I am going. Just use the power of goal setting. No, I am going to be coming over. Warren said he's going to put me up for 6 months.
Oh yeah, that would be fantastic.
All right, let's get going. Right, the Health Angle, it guides, educates, supports, and teaches wellness and fitness awareness from a sporting perspective. So today's headline: preparing yourself for winter. Now, this is going to be in 2 parts. I nearly wanted to do both in one day, but I want to be fair to the actual subject. So in part 1 is personal outside preparation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, it's a sporting program, so it's about training and things like that. But you can relate it to anything to do with weather. It's very easy training in the summer, apart from a bit of heat, and you've got to think about dehydrating and things like that. And it's very, very easy in autumn and spring. So we'll do the 2 extremes. We're talking about winter here. Okay. Yeah. So as I said, our message is serious, but if we can inject some humor along the way, we will. So, but we do like to have a lot of fun as much as possible. Okay. Now, if you have any questions,
a little bit of banter here and there, right?
Yeah, a little bit. And Warren keeps me in check. He's my fact checker. So if you have any questions, please ask them on the live if you can, or as most people, because most people on it, they listen to the recording. So we will endeavour to answer the question that you give us on the live, and I think we could do it between us. But if we can't, I will go away and research it and come back and speak to you personally. So the question is, do you prepare for winter or not? Mm-hmm. Now, Warren, do you?
I prepare for every season. I learned from one of the greats, Jim Rohn. Prepare for every season.
Yeah. You've got to be ready for the harvest, as they say.
Yeah.
But you've got to also be prepared for the bad times or the not so good times. And roll with the punches.
And roll with the punches. And it's easier to roll with the punches when you are prepared, right?
Yeah.
I know it's kind of sounds like a bit like a dichotomy. It sounds like a contradiction, but yeah, if you are slightly prepared, at very least, it's easier to roll with those punches. True.
So just for those, I mean, I used to box, so it's really important that you roll with the punches. But that's all about movement. And so if you stick your chin out and let the person hit you, it's going to hurt, and you're probably going to go down. Okay, but if you can roll with the punch a little bit, it takes away the sting, and that's what we mean by it. So first of all, we're talking about the outside. Next week we'll be talking about the inside. What you can do, things you can take, and to improve your way of getting through winter without too many troubles. So we all know how important it is to stretch before you start exercising in winter, but it becomes more important that you do that. It's always important, but it becomes more important in the winter. So why do you think that is, Warren?
To stretch and warm up before you exercise. Well, because I mean, your body's cold, so everything is constricted in order to keep the blood flow going, to keep the body warmer. So the body's a little bit tighter in some aspects, and it just takes longer to get the body going, get the body moving in winter as opposed to summertime. So it's very important.
Absolutely. I mean, look, as we said before, stretching increases flexibility and a range of motion. So it's important that we do that. But as I say, because of the coldness, sometimes the blood flow needs to be going really well. You can you can cheat a little bit on a hot day. In other words,
well,
I wouldn't suggest cheating, but you can.
You can. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get over it.
On a cold day, what we're trying to do is lessen the risk factor of injury before you get started, because that's when most injuries start. If you haven't warmed up properly, you see it on a football field. How quickly, when someone gets injured on a football field, and basically they're signaling to the substitute to come down, and he's not done any warming up or very little.
Yeah. There's no time.
And I've seen substitutes come on the field and within a couple of minutes get injured because they didn't do a proper warm up.
In American football and rugby have started to take this from American football. They have the guys sitting on watt bikes, and they're sitting on the bikes, pedaling, in different intervals, just in case they have to come on. Or when they transition the offensive team to the defensive team, those guys are getting warm before they come on. They know that's more, they prepared for that. But rugby, they started to do similar practices now. They have the bikes on the side of the pitch, and the subs and you'll often see the subs running up and down the behind the goalposts in rugby as well. You'll often see them doing drills. The substitutes, you'll see them doing drills behind the goalposts throughout the match.
I can't believe how many players they have in an American football team, but
and
they have loads of different coaches. So anyway, we're sort of digressing. So when the body is cold, what happens to the muscles? Do you know?
The muscles will constrict, and then the muscles, basically, the blood flow coming to those muscles is less, because the most important organs in the body to protect and keep blood flowing to is the brain and the heart. So, the muscles throughout the body, the blood throughout the body will reduce in its flow, and it's because things are constricting. It's harder for the blood to get through to those areas as well. So,
And because the other thing is, once you're warming up, you're warming the blood up and warming your muscles up and getting them ready to do something more exerting. But what we're looking to do is conserve heat.
Yes.
Because if you do anything cold, you're just opening yourself up to strains and everything else. So,
and remember that you've got oxygen in your blood. So the more blood that's flowing into your system, the more oxygen that you have in your body, and that's helping to flush out any impurities that have been sitting there from the previous workout. That may also cause injuries like crystal formation or anything like that. Slight micro tears from a previous run or workout, whatever it is. So by stretching and warming up, doing prior to your actual workout or your run, it's so imperative.
Absolutely.
It's funny we're talking about this, and it's funny that I thought of doing this kind of subject because just 2 days ago I was warming up and I was thinking to myself, because 2 days ago was the beginning of autumn, and I was thinking I'm going to have to start to lengthen my warm-ups now, have longer warm-ups now, prior to my workouts, because I trained like last year, and the year before, I trained throughout the winter outdoors in sub-zero conditions, and that. So I know I've programmed my my seasons.
I generally take longer. I think experience is quite important. As long as the experience, you learn from when you get it wrong. But I think once you have an injury or you do something wrong, you never do it again. You just don't do it.
Well,
it's too expensive. It's too. Look. We all want to get through our training, maybe tired, but in one piece. So that's why stretching for me is so important. So the first thing, there's 4 things I just want to talk about. First thing is the warm up. I think the warm up. How do you warm up when you do exercises?
Oh, okay. So what I'd like to do is I do some mobility warm-ups first. So I loosen up the shoulders, I loosen up the hips, I loosen up the torso area, and I'm just doing some slight movements, nothing too ballistic, nothing too aggressive. And then I slowly increase my pace, and then I bring it back down again. So I start off slow, I increase my pace in terms of the movements that I'm doing for my warm-up. And then just before I start to train, I just slow it down a little bit. I bring my heart rate back down, and then I start with my workout. So I've done everything. I've warmed up my heart. I've warmed up all the joints, the muscles, everything, and then got activated my central nervous system by then. I don't. And when I look at many people warming up, I see many people and trainers as well. Unfortunately, many trainers they go through the same rhythm of warming up, with people that is never really relevant to the situation. It's like they kind of try to do the same warm up for any situation, and you got to be careful of that, because it's like doing the same kind of running routine or the same kind of workout routine. If you do it for too long, the same thing, the body becomes conditioned to that, and becomes
it's harder to do something else.
Exactly. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So if people are just doing the same warm-up routine all the time, their body is just going to, this is not a warm-up for me anymore. You know what I mean? This is not even a warm-up. So for example, like my warm-up is many other people's actual cardio session.
yeah, you're the same as me. I do loads. I mean, to be fair, I do loads before I go and get involved in running. So personally, I find it.
Talk from a runner's perspective. Like, what are you doing to warm up from a runner's? Because I'm not a runner.
Okay, so what I used to do was obviously do your stretching exercises and whatever you did. Now I'll come to that side of it in a minute. But what I used to do is go for the slowest jog you could ever do in your life for some considerable time, just to get my body in flow. Now I do it differently. Okay, what I do is basically I do a brisk walk for 1,500 meters. All the while, well, not all of the while, but a lot of it is doing deep breathing exercises when I'm going around. Mm-hmm. Because to me, this is how obviously I know me, I have to do that breathing exercises, because we spoke about this before, because otherwise I've got problems breathing on the run. Okay, so I have to do these deep breathing. I do 20 to 30 deep breathing exercises each lap, and the lap's about 500 meters each. So, and then I'm ready. I'm actually ready to run. Because I don't do, and I'll come to the stretching in a minute, but the warm up's important to me mentally. I'm also listening to good stuff on earphones as well. Only in the warm up, not for the run.
Okay.
Because I want to be totally focused when I do my run. Because I'm getting older, I have to. I can't do the pro. I could. Well, yeah, but I'm still doing all right. But what I'm saying is, I can't do the same level of performance I used to do. Obviously, you can't do it. It's impossible. So, but what I do is, I read my body. I know what type of shape I'm in before the run. So then I make a decision of how long I'm going to run, or what pace, or whatever. So I'm very flexible, and I can move it anyway.
Good.
And
but because you've been doing it long enough, as you say, your body. So you've been doing it for long enough that you understand. You can listen to the science.
Yeah, and some days I don't train because of that.
Yeah.
Because I picked up on something and I said, no, it's not going to work today. I'm not going to. Because of what I'm doing, it's not like I'm just doing training for the sake of doing it. I'm doing it for a specific purpose, and I cannot afford to get injured now. So
No, you
Yeah,
can't. Yeah, you're right.
no, I can't. I just can't. I
Yeah.
won't, you know, it take me too long to get over it, and I'll fall behind, and I don't want to do that. So
And
if
I
I have to
want
back
to,
off,
if you have to back off, then you will, I guess. Yeah, you know when
yeah.
to do it.
But the warm ups is key for me. You know, it's and it is
But
about for me,
this is when some people let their ego get in the way, and they don't want to stop. They don't want to
no, you got
give up. You know.
yeah. But I find that you know the walking for me is a kind of mild aerobic exercise, and it's great way to get my blood flowing in my muscles, and
Okay.
and I'm then prepared. I do that first before I stretch.
Good. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So I do
Yeah.
that first, and that makes
Yeah.
me. And when I on that walk, at 1,500-meter walk, tells me everything I need to know about the position I'm in at that particular time. So I'm going, yeah, I feel good. The breathing's good. I'm ready to go and do a reasonable run. Or it could be, no, I'm going to cut it down by half because I,
Do
you
you
know,
adapt? Do you adapt your stretching after your walk based on how you're reading your body?
yeah, yeah.
So
No,
you,
normally I'm fine, but there are occasions when you go, it's not going to be happening today, or if it
yeah,
is, it's only going to be a very, very
but
little bit. So mentally,
do you,
I'll go do a little run. So mentally, I've
but
gone out and trained.
do you stretch differently at all based on
Um,
your walk
no, because most of them I feel good. So you know, so no, I would just do. Now my stretching. Well, okay, we're going to now get onto the stretching routine because my stretching routine is different in warm weather. It is to cold weather.
Good.
Um, I do static stretches when in warm weather. I don't have any
Okay.
problem with it. I've never. I mean, I've been doing it for years and years and years. I've had no problem at all. However, when I'm in the cold weather, I do more dynamic exercises. So a lot more gentle bouncing and things like that. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and I've got to be more thorough in the cold weather.
Yeah, there's a thing with the bouncing as well that many people don't understand, or they don't get the difference. They don't know the difference between forced bounce or something
Yeah,
that is just a nice gentle, like a
yeah, it's
pulsing
like a
bounce.
gentle loop. It's just like
Yeah,
it's like a lamb going. Doo, doo, doo. You know, it's like well, it is. I mean, it's probably in my
But
case, I've been with a sick lamb, but
I want to revisit something you were talking about, your breathing exercises, and this is another very important element of warming up. Is people's lung capacity, the strength of their breathing is not
yeah,
the way it should be or it could be. Okay. Well, what I mean by that is that for many people today in modern day society, the breathing is very shallow. People are
yeah,
typically breathing more from the chest than they do from the gut. And because of that, the lung muscles are not active as much as they should be in terms of the capacity of your breathing. So what
hmm
you're doing and what you've explained is key in that, you know, if other people are following what you do, where they just go for a walk and they do 20 deep breaths, you're
yeah,
warming up your lung muscles, okay, as
yeah,
well. So when you start to run and you need to take in those deep breaths, those muscles are ready. Otherwise, this is where people get stitches. They get that stitch,
yeah,
yeah, because the
yeah.
lungs are not exercising, and then now they can't.
I only used to have stitches when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I think that I learned what to do, and I don't just never got them again. Really.
me too. I used
So
to get stitches as a kid as well. I used to run with a
yeah, yeah.
stick or a
The
stone
old
because I
cross
used to get
country.
stitches.
That's where I used to get it.
Yeah.
Right, just you go out, you get changed in the change room. The teacher went, right, go around and run that lap 3 times, and you just go for it, don't you? Just yeah, and there's no warming up or anything. It's just
Yeah.
like I
But
mean,
then when
you can get away with it as a kid. I mean, you're
but
far more
as a kid, you're more like a gazelle or a cheetah.
yeah,
You are. If you look at a gazelle or a cheetah, they don't go, oh, hang on, wait, don't come catch me now and eat me now. Let me just warm up first.
yeah,
No, they
yeah,
just go. And as a
yeah.
kid,
That's right.
you have that dynamic ability, but as you get older, you lose that dynamic ability. You lose that ability to just dynamically propel yourself within an instant.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's so we have to.
I used to. My phone's going off. Why is my phone going off? That's my daughter. Right, let me turn this off. Sorry.
Ask your daughter. No, ask her and ask her why you're not watching my podcast. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, that's the point. No.
You don't want hell after that, do you?
No, that's right. No.
Repercussions.
But yeah, so some of the other static things is leg kicks, arm circles. You know, simple stuff. I don't go berserk. I mean, I will stretch my groin always. You know, being I'm a footballer and we do a lot of stop-start stuff. The groin is very easy to get injured. So, but yeah, I mean, because obviously doing the static ones, you're holding a pose for, let's say, 30 or 45 seconds. And I just think the more dynamic type of movement, you know, is better in the cold weather. That's and I knew that, but I checked on it anyway, and it was confirmed as well. So, you know, so I'm quite pleased about that. I was described as, in my recent years, as a three-legged rhino. I want to I want to charge, but it's not all there. Anyway, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm still
glad you're
even at my old age, mate. I'm still running past 18-year-olds on the football field. What's that about?
I know, that's
I haven't got a ball. So, okay.
But this is the same thing. I was training a teenager the other day. Listen to this story. So I'm training this teenager. He's like 17 years old. Okay. And he runs. And this is, I think it was our second or third workout we've had this whole summer, because he's been away a lot on camps and community service stuff and things like that. And so in any case, we finished the workout. But as we finished the workout, all right, the last sequence of exercises around that he's done, he looks at me, and then all of a sudden he just sits down, poof, and I see his face, and his face just went red.
Yeah.
He couldn't handle it. And I mean, look, I didn't try to kill the kid. I just gave him something that I knew would be challenging for him physically, because he needs it, because he's like a beanpole. He's tall and skinny. So I gave him stuff that I believe, he is good for his body. So I didn't try to kill him. I don't want to do that. But this poor kid, I mean, 17 years old, he was doing stuff that for me is like, I don't know,
a warm up.
Not a warm up, but yeah, it's not a particularly challenging workout for me with the stuff that I was giving him. But he just couldn't handle it. Yeah, and we stopped right at the right time. And that's unfortunate. It's when I see stuff like that, examples of that, I'm thinking, come on, man, you're 17 years old. You should be as fit as a fiddle right now. You should be in the prime of your life.
Yeah. Anyway, so you deal with the warm up, then you're stretching, then you've got to pay attention to what you're doing during your workout.
Yes,
it's a complete thing. You must be aware of what's going on all the time. So I'm not going to talk about the workout too much, because it's going to be individual to everyone. But pay attention. Okay, pay attention to everything that's happening. You know, and I mean, bear in mind, because I've oxygenated on my warm up, it carries you right the way through.
Okay, now when you're running,
the Hounds of Baskervilles in the background.
Yeah, the Hounds of Baskerville. Yeah, I was walking when I was walking back home. Now there was the hairdresser downstairs was outside with her son and some other people, and then she was like "Shunda," like this, and I just laughed, because I'm doing the same thing every day. I'm just like telling these dogs to keep the shut up.
I think there's a few extra words in there, but
this is a decent thing. And no, I've actually, look, at the end of the day, I've come to realize that they're just dogs. They're just communicating in the way that they know, but nobody else tells them to keep quiet. The owners never tell them to keep quiet. So, and I just need to, so I do. And they respect me for that. The dogs, they do. The dogs, when I talk to them, they listen, and even though they're not my dogs. But something that I was, before you mentioned about the Baskerville Hounds, the Hounds of Baskerville. As a runner, look, it's much easier So once you are not running, that is, but to keep the blood flowing and to keep the body oxygenated and heated up, and that, because you've done your warm up, you've done your stretching, and now you're on a run. Okay, so you're doing a consistent activity, or like cycling, for example. But if you're in a gym or you're outside doing some kind of other, like if you're in a park somewhere, like training like I do in a park, where you're using bars and you're doing calisthenic type workouts, or working with the TRX, or like I do with my 4D Pro, and I do body weight training, and I'm doing calisthenic stuff as well. You very often people fall into the trap because it's winter, and they don't necessarily want to be out in winter when it's cold. I know it's a fact. Not many people want to train outside when it's cold. Okay, but sometimes people do because they know it's necessary, and this is the only option they have. They don't want to go to a gym, or they don't have a gym in their area, or they can't afford a gym, so they go train outdoors. But what people fall into is the trap of taking your time.
Yeah.
You know, they do it. They do a set, or they do a couple of exercises, and then they rest, and then they're on the phone, and then they're chatting.
You've got to have a set rest period, and you've got to know when you. Yeah, you've got.
40,
if you're going to
40 seconds. 40 seconds is
because it's going to. We all know it's going to hurt, because you think you need longer to recover between each set, but you don't.
No.
Yeah, and it's better for you if you just get them, do them out, get them out of the way.
Just,
you know.
And I say 40 seconds is key, because I'm trying to get it in the right place, right frame. Yeah. 40 seconds is key. 40 seconds is the optimal rest period if you're doing strength training or conditioning training. 40 seconds. If you're resting longer than that, it becomes unnecessary after a minute and a half. Then it's unnecessary, unless you're doing powerlifting, or you're a bodybuilder and you need to rest for 2 to 3 minutes. But that's different. You know, that's a different ball game altogether.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying, yeah? So if you're outdoors, I'm telling this to the other folks. I know I don't need to preach to the choir here, namely Paul, but although he's a different choir boy, he doesn't have the middle parting. Just remember, keep your rest periods down to a minimum. 40 seconds is optimal. Even if you're doing 2 exercises back to back, you don't need to rest longer than that. You really don't.
No. And it's the same in athletics as well, because we would do all the most of the time, I've got to say, was actually spent warming up and stretching. That was what most of the session itself was quite quick, because we would do something like 400 meters, or 6 200 meters, or 8 200 meters, or all different sort of distances, and you had to be ready to go. If you had a trainer, a lot of times we did it on our own, but if you had a trainer, you'd be ready to go. It would be about 40 seconds. You do one, obviously you're not running at full pelt, but you're doing the 75% ones, but you'd have to be ready to go, and you've got to complete them. You've got about 10 minutes, 12 minutes max, absolute max, to get it all done. And then what we do, we go and have lunch, and then we come back in the afternoon and we do another different session. We start off, so you had 2 sessions a day. So and that's, I like that.
This is why I loved my basic training in the military.
Yeah.
When I was in the military, the guys in my unit, we had a strongman competition for our base, our platoon. So guys in my unit, they entered me into a strongman competition without my knowledge, and I did pretty well in it, even though I was not one of the smaller guys, but I did pretty well in it. But because I used to thrive on get up in the morning and you're on the go, and then you go for lunch, and then straight after lunch you go for lessons. You have educational lessons, war strategies, all these kind of things, and then straight off after that, you're on the go again. And I used to love that, doing like you training twice a day. And for me, that was like all the other guys were like, I loved it. I just thrived on that. I was born to be a professional athlete, but I never had that opportunity to be a professional athlete.
Yeah.
But I just used to get, and when I was young, I could just literally go, straight. I could just go. I didn't have to warm up, stretch, anything like that.
Well, when you're younger, I mean, that is the way. I mean, you do. It's as you get older, you realise that it can't continue that way.
No,
that's
true.
Because you will pick a lot of injuries up. But the big thing about during the workout is you can take it could be in anything really, but sometimes there's lulls where you are standing around doing nothing. That is the worst time, because what you're doing, all your muscles and everything are getting colder. The colder they get, the more chance you've got of getting an injury. So if you're in a team sport or something like that, and someone gets injured, luckily with rugby they tend to play round them a little bit. Unless it's really serious, and then they'll but in football, anyone gets injured, they get a little a wasp lands on their nose or something, and they go down as if someone punched them. But I never understand that. But I never stop. I never, people trying to bring you down, and it's going to be a penalty. I wanted to score a goal. I wasn't interested in going down.
This is my question. Why has football allowed them to get away with this for so long?
Well,
it's ruined the game, in my opinion.
It's like when someone puts a tackle in as a defender, and if the bloke stays on his feet, it's going to be a foul, going to be a penalty or whatever. But the player that's attacking knows it's about to come and dives before the bloke puts the tackle in, right?
Oh yes, yeah.
Right. So to me, that's not a foul, because he's committing an offence he's already committed an offence of ungentlemanly conduct. Diving. So he will get booked, and it won't be a penalty. It won't. It would just be a free kick the other way. But I'm just saying, you should be looking at as an attacker in football or whatever it is to score that goal. That should be your main thing. And if you can't score it, set someone else up. But that, and then you just take what happens. You're going to get hit. But don't anticipate it.
I used to
don't anticipate it.
Ashley Cole. What's his name? Andy Cole.
Yeah.
They used to play for Man United, and Eric Cantona.
He played for Arsenal.
Andy Cole. Well, before. And Eric Cantona, because if they were in the box, they never went down. They just never went. They didn't go down.
Because their main thing was to score a goal.
Yes.
And that should be. I would, if I was coaching footballers, I would say, look, don't listen to all your mates. Don't watch television of the Premiership and just think, oh, you a little touch and you're going to go down and go, oh, ref, penalty. I mean, go and score. There's nothing better than brushing someone off or keeping your feet and scoring. As I say, I was a goal scorer, so I can tell you that. I never went down, ever. You'd have to drag me down by both hands to stop me. So,
but also, if there's a scout, let's say there's a scout in the crowd, and they're watching you doing that in the box, knocking the defender off you, and going on no matter what to score that goal. I mean, how much more credible is your name going to be than if you just dive?
Yeah. Well, it makes me wonder, because I had a trial for Chelsea, and because they played the older against the younger, never got a look in, and it was about an hour long, the game, 30 minutes each way, and I got one chance with a minute to go. The ball fell, and I hit it on the volley straight in the top corner.
Oh,
right, and I had one touch probably in the whole game, one touch,
and that was it.
That was it. So initially they picked me and two others, 3 out of only purely for that goal. Nothing couldn't be anything else. Right? Then they changed their mind. I said, "No, sorry, we made a mistake." I went, "But I thought it was a great goal." I mean, I went for, you know, I went to the
Don't feel too hard. There was Chelsea.
Oh, no, I didn't really care. I didn't care at that stage. I care now. You know, £100 a week. Yeah, I care now.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so that was my little claim to fame with football. So
if you can score a goal on a volley, I mean, that's in the top corner. That's no mean feat, man.
Yeah. Anyway, just quickly, I'm not going to go into this too deeply. The fourth bit of that was cooling down. You should also do, you know, some kind of stretching or, you know, walking or jogging or something, just to let your muscles calm down. It sends another message to your body saying, okay, we're finished, but we're not just going to go and finish. We're going to ease down, and that's very, very important. So,
bottom line is with training in the winter, you can't afford to cut corners. That's it. Yeah, you got to be more precise, more concise with what you're doing, more deliberate with what you're doing, and don't try to cut corners. But before we wrap up, Paul, I just want to just stress that you have the opportunity now, the next 3 months. If you haven't started doing something yet, start doing it now, because otherwise you're going to have 6 months before anything gets going.
Yeah.
Because if you're not doing something before winter kicks in, the chances of you starting anything before end of winter is very slim.
Yeah.
You know, so get it now. You've got 3 months of glorious weather conditions to train outdoors. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It may be windy. It may be rainy, but who cares? You know, get started now. Do something. Join a gym if you have to, if you can, if you need to. Hey, Brian.
Is he going to insult me again?
After that comment, most likely. Oh, thank you, Brian. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
He says,
Brian, you're going to be on there next week. So, thanks anyway, Brian. Just a couple of things. I mean, I obviously I made notes on quite a few things, and one was the environment, and one was the clothing. Yeah, because they're the other things. We haven't really got time to go into it today, but wear the appropriate clothing for the right weather. Okay, that's all I'll say for that. And there are different. You go from waterproof down to fleeces, down to the undergarments. You know, the ones that keep you warm. We were talking about yesterday, Helly Hansen, other things like that, Night Pro, and all these do these things. And I tell you what, sometimes it's all about layers, and having the right layers and being able to peel them off if you get warmer.
Yeah. Rather be in that position than be freezing your nuts up because you're too cold. You're not layered enough.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, and also you've got to think about environment. And I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again because it is so important. When I was in Wales, we had, in the space of an hour, every single weather you can imagine. We had snow, rain, sleet, fog. It was freezing cold at one point. It was boiling hot at one point, and this is all within an hour. It's just up on top of, you know, the mountains and things like that. It all goes a bit funny, doesn't it, and haywire. And we had you've got to buy a good coat and prepare for an inflated gas bill. Oh, that's Gavin. Sorry. So anyway, but what we did when me and my friend Paul, we went up the mountain. I'd never been before, but I prepared like I was going to be for every eventuality, including first aid kits. We had food, not heavy, all light stuff, but we had everything. So if we'd been caught in a blizzard, we'd had cover, we'd have drink, we'd have food, you know, and I say and we come across people who so-called professionals, seriously, training for the SAS and things like that, were totally unprepared. Totally.
Unprepared or just not equipped?
Not equipped. They're totally unprepared as well. They just everything. I mean, it was like I said to them, if you're going to do this type of thing, there's certain things you've got to do. You know. So I'm not going to go into that in deep way. It was just. This
is something we can touch on next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
That preparedness, being prepared.
Yeah, we'll revisit this next week when we talk about nutrition because obviously you've got to take stuff with us. So, but all I'll say is about winter is prepare in the right way. Use your noddle, you know, and
start
make
preparing
decisions.
now. Start preparing now. Prepare
that's right.
yourself physically now.
Yeah, and doesn't matter what the weather is, get out there.
Yes,
because when you come to nice weather, it's like really lovely.
It's a dream.
Yeah, it is.
I'll just remind you. I'll remind people. I train outdoors in -10 degrees in the snow, but I just prepare for it. I'm prepared for it. You know,
Yeah.
Not only physically, mentally, but I wear the right clothing. You know, the right type of workout and training regime, and I'm prepared for it. So it's as simple as that, and I enjoy it. I love it.
Yeah, and I think, and you know, all it is. I mean, even if you're not doing sport and you're not training, again, still do the right things.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to be prepared. You know. So yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it. So anyway, anything you want to say before we go, Warren?
No, thank you, Paul. I'm done.
Okay, so prepare for winter. Anyway, so
winter's coming.
Winter's coming, yeah.
That's a bit of a take on the Game of Thrones there. Winter's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've found this useful and you think you know someone who may also find it useful or they need to hear it, please share this video. Like the video, yeah, and like the website as well. The Facebook page. And we look forward to. We'll be back on for part 2 of preparing for winter next week. So we'll see you then.
Otherwise, see you on Friday.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Oh yeah, we see you Friday as well.
Friday, 4 p.m. UK time.
What's Friday about? Friday's about brain health. Brain
health. Sorry, not gut health.
Last week. So yeah.
Oh, we did heart last week.
No, heart was first week. You was off on holiday last week. We did gut health.
Yeah, we did do heart. Okay, I think gut health.
And I did miss you because I didn't do very well last week. I don't think not as good as this week or the week before. So obviously you have a great effect on me. So right. Okay, we're going. See you later.
Bye, everybody. Arrivederci.